doing another flapjack. I'm going to roast some nuts.
I can see the blue smoke coming off. So I think they are, oops, one down, 2,000 to go. Going to switch the gas off.
No, I'm going to roast the oats now.
Oh, roasted oats.
You always have to do things differently the second time.
Because it didn't taste perfect the first time round.
It did.
Yeah, exactly. I'm being sarcastic.
But
it's always the same with Kirsten. It tastes so good, and I say that, and then she says, oh, well, next time.
it tastes better.
No, next time I'm going to do this. Next time I'm going to do this. Next time, yeah. Okay, there comes butter. Kirsten just tried to burn this down with plastic. She's got something underneath the oven. A bit of syrup. Lots of syrup. Not too much of
vanilla extract.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch that off.
So this is Kirsten.
This is what I get when I do the best to keep the sweet tooth.
I have to do all the cleaning up because Kirsten is a real disaster when it comes to making a mess. She loves it.
Well, if you work, you make a mess.
No, you don't. I don't.
So now we mix it up. Then we press it down. Then I put some melted chocolate on top, and then it goes into the fridge for a few hours.
So almost done. So, chocolate in the funnel. Let's see if this works with a bit of milk to make it milk chocolate.
This is the dark chocolate from town, from a bakery. They do hot chocolate with it. Smells yummy. So, there's a bit of the syrup still in there, and now it's going to go on the done.
There we go.
That goes in the fridge. So while I'm in the baking mood, I thought I'm trying to do something new that I've never done before. I'm going to try to do a sponge cake in a Dutch oven. And I have no idea if it works out. I hope it's not going to be another volcano disaster. But we see when we get to the final result. So I've got my sponge mix, and I'm going to put it into a small pot that I lined with baking paper, and then I'm going to transfer the small pot into a bigger pot with water, and then I'm going to put it on the gas stove for, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes, and we see if it works. So now I've got pot into pot, and it's on the gas stove. It's supposed to be on for a full minute on high heat. I'm going to put the lid on, and then after a minute you're supposed to turn it down, and well, we wait and see what happens. I'm very curious. This is what it looks like after an hour. I had another lid on the small pot, but I just took it off because it just was taking too long. And I'll have to check now if it's getting anywhere. Or This looks pretty good already. I give it another 5 minutes. That might be a little juicy. I meant to cut it in half, but I think it's... Tastes wonderful, but it's a little too spongy. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put it into a bowl here, and I'm just going to add the cream on top, and I let it cool overnight in the fridge, and then we're gonna have it the next day. See how that works. So now we're going to plan B. A little bit of icing sugar, lime juice, and I'm going to add sour cream with it. Excuse the noise.
We've got a cream, or did we use it? Do we use cream?
The cream is long gone.
Okay. We should have brought one. Rather than sour cream.
Sour cream is nice.
Yeah. I'll buy some cream.
I need some more icing sugar. Azúcar pulverizada. That's the word for it in Colombia. Oh, that's yummy. I could eat it just like that. When you're camping, you need to be creative. It's not like having a home with all the amenities that you need to do things perfectly, but that's part of the fun, isn't it? It's a very basic life that you have to be creative in to work things out.
I abandoned the spoon. Now I'm using my fingers.
The cream is so good.
Oh.
It could be eaten straight away.
Who needs lentil soup?
And while I'm in the mood for cooking and baking, I'm going to make a lentil soup tonight. And I've got some chopped leeks here. And to that I'm going to add some red peppers and some zucchinis and some carrots. 1 carrot actually. Potatoes. And to the veggies I add some freshly cut local garlic and some bacon. So this is our fabulous Futura Indian pressure cooker. I'm going to add some oil, and then I'm going to fry the veggies a little bit. To the veggie bacon mix I'm going to add a whole cup of rice and lentils and a tin of tomatoes. half a scoop of veggie stock, pinch of oregano, water, and I've got a fabulous Cajun spice that I'm going to add as well. It gives it a bit of a sharp, spicy note. And this is the lid to our pressure cooker. It's actually sealing it from the inside. So now we let it cook again, and then we turn it down for about 20 minutes. Normal pressure. This is the trick of this one here.
This is our
Smells awesome.
our lentil soup with bacon.
It's more like a stew.
Lentils, onions, garlic, tinned tomatoes, bacon.
The bacon smells awesome.
Oh, I was going to say that's enough for me already. It's very filling.
Okay.
I don't think I need that.
Some for tomorrow.
Okay.
So I added some avocados and sour cream on mine. Helen likes it rather original.
The plain version.
What's the verdict?
Awful.
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 Awful is always good.
Absolutely awful.
And we have our fresh fermented bread along with it. There's Phoenix. He enjoys hiding in the high grass. Huh, Phoenix? Yeah, you're hiding. I can see you. Yesterday he ran out of the gate and had a good time somewhere. Phoenix, you've been a naughty boy yesterday, huh? He's a real cutie. Got his own mind. What's up, huh? You heard a dog barking? Bye-bye. It's like a racing horse, isn't it?
Our favourite dog in the world is unfortunately thousands of kilometres away.
Where's Leah? Come here. This is. Now come. Come. So now it's time to try our sponge cake.
Dip cake.
Our dip cake. That little bit of corner is mine. I already couldn't wait to try it. Let's see what Helen's verdict is.
Well, it's nice and spongy.
It's nice and spongy.
Awful.
It's pretty good, isn't it? It doesn't look the best, but it's really juicy.
Kirsten's disasters normally taste really good.
It wasn't a disaster. It was just plan B because I couldn't cut it, but that's pretty awesome, no?
It's more like a suet pudding.
It's really juicy. Lift one piece out so we can see.
You could have this with custard.
Yeah.
Only we don't have any custard.
This looks really, really good. And the cream is delicious, isn't it?
Who'd have thought that?
I'm in the trial and error mood when it comes to cooking and baking at the moment, and so far everything has turned out rather good. It's not always the case, I have to admit this, but this one is... Helen is my guinea pig of trying things out, but she's happy to be a guinea pig when it tastes nice, don't you think?
But they eat guinea pigs in South America.
Yeah.
That's what they look like on the.
My little cute kiwi on the skewer, yeah.
So, you know, I might end up burnt at the stake.
Fried, deep fried.
Deep fried at the stake. Not something to look forward to.
No.
I think I'll just keep eating the cake.
Yeah, do that. And we have cappuccino with it. Mind your coffee this time.
No, it's coffee, not cappuccino. We don't have any cappuccino either.
So today I'm trying something new for the kitchen. I'm going to make some falafels and some cabbage patties with lots of dips and a little bit of a side salad. It's something completely new, and I'm going to tape it and then we'll let you know if it worked out in the end. So for the falafels, I've got about a handful of my freshly picked parsley, and I'm going to add quite a bit of garlic because we like it, and I'm going to blend it. And I made myself this little protection here so Helen doesn't have to clean up the whole motorhome in the end. Where I'm going to blend it first. Into the mix I'm going to add onions and the soaked chickpeas. I soaked them overnight for 12 hours. Some salt. This is my favorite garlic salt from Canada. Black pepper. Some sweet paprika. And the recipe asks for some cumin, but I don't have that. So I'm going to blend all this again. So I added a lot more parsley because it wasn't actually green after the first hand, so it obviously needs 2 or 3 hands of parsley. And I blended it more thoroughly, and I added a little bit of flour to bind it a little, and now it's going in the fridge for an hour to settle. Now I'm preparing the cabbage patties. The recipe asks for 750 grams of cabbage, which I don't have. I'm just using half a medium-sized cabbage. The cabbage has to boil for 7 to 10 minutes in already boiling water, and after that it's going to be put through a sieve and drained and cooled down, and in that time I can do the rest of the ingredients. So the onions are fried golden brown, and I'm going to add the garlic to it. So now we're mixing the cabbage with the fried onions and garlic. We add some parsley. Salt and pepper. It's asking for 2 eggs, but I'm just going to add 1 for the moment because I have less cabbage than the original recipe. Yeah, I think 1 egg is plenty. It's just there to bind everything. And I'm supposed to add semolina, which I don't have. So I'm just going to add some flour in a minute. 50 grams. I'm just going by the flow as always. And then I'm supposed to let it sit for 10 minutes, which is perfect because that gives us time to go for a shower. So I'm about to fry our goodies for today. These are the falafels. It's a really nice consistency. Consistency, is that the right word? Mm-hmm. And the cabbage looks a little juicy. I think I'm going to do that second. And I'm going to do the falafels first. At the moment the oil is heating up. and then we see how it works out.
Oh, I just sent you a WhatsApp. The stuff's in with the lemons on your table.
So, it's going to fry a little bit.
The Vaseline's the blue one.
This is looking really good already. So now I'm frying the cabbage patties with the last two falafels. Smells heavenly in here, doesn't it?
Yep.
I'm going to have some tomatoes and avocado with it, and I made 3 dips. The first one is mayonnaise, sour cream, dill, garlic, salt and pepper. The second one is a Thousand Island ketchup and mayonnaise mix. And the third one is our hummus that we are ordering from this fantastic lady. This is a large pot and it cost us $1.70. And for that kind of price, we don't make it ourselves. We don't have the tahini sauce anyway. Now we're done.
And it's so cold, this food is going to be...
Yeah, we've got the door open still because the frying smell is...
It's only 25 degrees in here. It feels really, really cold. Oh, good.
You can start.
I can?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try some sauces. Sauces for horses. A bit of hummus.
Hummus. My.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Let's see what the verdict is. First time I did falafels. Taste? It's not so convinced.
Not very much. We need a bit more salt, but it's okay.
Needs more salt.
We've got salt.
You've got salt in the dips.
Yeah, we've got sauces. We don't need salt.
So I did another sponge cake, and I tried a yin and yang pattern with white custard powder and icing sugar and a chocolate icing sugar. Helen was really excited about the first one and said I should not change anything, but that's not my style. So of course I changed the recipe slightly. I put some sour cherry jam in the middle with that yummy lemon cream, and this time I baked the dough in 2 layers, but we see if I could actually even improve an already perfect recipe. He's going for the new concoction. I like Kirsten.
Oh, that looks quite good. So, big mouth.
Terrible.
Awful.
We actually have some extra chocolate sauce as well, because I did too much yesterday. Better? Better than the last one? I have to try it myself. I'm the judge of these things.
Meals on wheels. These are spare ribs with potatoes and peeled chilies. There's a red one and a green one. So we're going to see what
it's from Natalie and Flo again, the French Colombian couple. It's about $5 per portion. There seemed to be a lot of meat on the bones, which looks nice. And we got it delivered for lunchtime, but we like to eat in the evening. What's it like? Is it hot enough?
Good enough.
I just had to heat it up a little. So, just another day in paradise while I'm working on the computer to do some videos. Helen is doing our washing up. It's a nice sunny day. We still are in the rainy season.
Very hot.
Very, very hot, yeah. Last night we actually saw a meteor directly above our motorhome. It was a 1, 2, 3 seconds bang. It was quite amazing, wasn't it?
It wasn't a bang, we didn't hear it.
Well, we didn't hear the bang, but we saw the, what is it, the glow when it entered our Earth atmosphere.
It left a stream of light behind it.
Yeah. We took it as a good sign, because this is somehow, I don't even know, day 130 something. We work it out later.
Yeah, 130 30 odd, I don't know.
So yeah, we're between the two trees, right in the middle of the afternoon. We get the shade now, because it really depends how the sun's traveling. So it's a good time to do the washing up, the dishes. We need some more plates and pots and pans for tonight's cooking. And the back doors are open. This is the side window. There's my table with the vegetables. Everything is nice and green out there now. And the birds are still around too.
If you haven't eaten before watching this video, you'll be hungry now.
President Trump has urged Americans to wear masks if they can't maintain a safe social distance. Despite his past reluctance to encourage face coverings, he told people they should wear them whether they like it or not.
President Trump is sending hundreds more federal officers to fight what he calls rising violent crime in American cities. He said he had no choice but to act, although much of the unrest is driven by protests against racism and police violence. The number of people with COVID-19 being taken into hospital in the US continues to rise. In Texas, the number of admissions reached a new record. Some doctors say they are struggling to cope. In Israel, thousands of people take to the streets over the economic impact of the pandemic. Many say the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, should resign over his handling of the financial fallout. And after a 30-year wait, Liverpool have lifted the English Premier League trophy. The presentation followed Liverpool's last home game of the season against Chelsea. Beijing has ordered the closure of the US consulate in the city of Chengdu just hours after the American Secretary of State said Washington was hardening its stance in its dealings with China. Turkey's iconic Hagia Sophia is reopening for Friday prayers for the first time since its controversial conversion from a museum back to a mosque. President Trump has cancelled the main gathering of the Republican National Convention in Florida in August. It follows a spike in coronavirus cases there. He said it wasn't right to hold a crowded event in a virus hotspot. And a new study has warned that unless there's a global effort to reduce plastic waste, 1.3 billion tonnes of it may be dumped on land and in the oceans over the course of the next 20 years.
Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has admitted that his government didn't understand the nature of the coronavirus pandemic in its first few weeks and months. Speaking exclusively to the BBC, Mr Johnson also said there were open questions about whether the lockdown had been imposed too late. US federal officials have repossessed the Chinese consulate in Houston days after President Trump ordered its closure. As diplomatic relations between the world's two largest economies continue to deteriorate, China has retaliated by ordering the US to close its consulate in the city of Chengdu. And authorities in Iraq have created a city in the desert to bury the record number of people who've died from coronavirus. Doctors have issued a stark warning that a return to normal life would be premature as COVID cases soar.
British holidaymakers returning from Spain will have to quarantine for 14 days from today, amid fears that the country could be experiencing a second wave of coronavirus. The short notice change came into force at midnight in the UK. US officials are warning of life-threatening storm surges, strong winds and heavy rains after Hurricane Hanna made landfall in southern Texas. The state is already struggling to contain the coronavirus outbreak. North Korea has imposed a lockdown on the town of Kaesong near the South Korean border, saying a defector who returned last week may have contracted COVID-19. North Korea had previously stressed it was virus-free. And a St Bernard has been on the other side of a rescue mission. Daisy collapsed while walking down England's highest mountain. A local mountain rescue team came to her aid.
The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases worldwide has reached more than 16 million, up by 1 million in just 4 days. The United States remains the hardest hit country with 53,000 new cases. One of China's leading scientists who diagnosed early coronavirus cases has told the BBC he believes local officials covered up the scale of the initial outbreak. He was part of an investigation team in Wuhan in January. Chinese authorities have taken possession of the closed US consulate in Chengdu. It was ordered to shut last week by Beijing. The closure is the latest stage of the diplomatic row between China and the US. And the UK travel industry is warning new quarantine requirements could leave some firms unable to survive. People travelling back from Spain will be expected to isolate for 14 days. Scientists say last year's bushfires in Australia were one of the worst wildlife disasters in modern history. More than 3 billion animals were killed or displaced. The fires burnt for several months. Spain's Prime Minister has strongly criticised the UK's decision to impose a quarantine on everyone arriving from his country. Pedro Sanchez said British tourists were safer from coronavirus in most regions of Spain than when they were at home.
Stay tuned for more videos.